So, hello everyone. It's me, Demetra, Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as now the Black Yule Brenner. And this, yep, show him your dome. So this is the podcast. We are not live. We'll be back live later. But today we are going to talk about Travis Kelce and that whole little situation. And then we're also going to talk about something that is trending that I saw. It's kind of shocking, but it's not. And also want to start saying that we talk about things that are trending, not for gossip content, but to see if we can dig deeper and come up with a solution to do things better. So I should also say that the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. And so, again, y'all heard what we're going to talk about. So, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
I want to say welcome to the show. We have a banner at the bottom of the thing that's scrolling at the bottom. If you so would like to donate, because it does take time, a little effort for Demetra to put these videos up, and it also helps the channel keep going. And it also motivates Demetra to keep making these great videos and bringing up these great topics. Also, what's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime. On the way in, please hit the like button if you like, share, subscribe, share this on your platforms and get the information out there. Also, please do not forget, if you guys have time, watch Demetra on the African Diaspora News Channel. Like, share, and subscribe there as well. Brother Phil's on there and all the other people. A lot of great information when it comes to the African diaspora. Now, a lot of people don't understand what the African diaspora means. And Demetra, tell me if I'm wrong, but the African diaspora means around the globe, Black, period, Pan-Africanism, whatever you want to call it, all of us together in regards to problems and things that go on that affect Black people. So go ahead and take away. Let's get into it.
Absolutely. So again, this is the podcast. We are not live. We'll be back live at 5:30, give or take. I try to make it 5:30, maybe even 5. We'll see. I'm trying to hurry up and get done with everything I'm doing. But anyway, okay. So I saw this also trending around, and I'm going to give y'all my best synopsis of all of this because I don't really follow too much pop culture. Okay, so Travis Kelce, who is a quarterback for the Kansas City, what is he?
Tight end.
Or he is something, okay?
He's tight end.
He is something. Okay, he's something for the Kansas City. What are they? The Monarchs now? They're not the Chiefs anymore.
They're the Chiefs. They're the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. Used to be the original Dallas Cowboys. They were the Dallas Texans or whatever back in the day.
So anyway, he's a football player. Okay, he's a football player for Kansas. Now, a couple of years ago, he was dating a Black woman by the name of Kayla Nicole. Sounds like she is a journalist and kind of like an influencer at this point. Dated for 5 years, and the rumor was that she broke up with him, I guess. That she broke up with him because he was cheap. He had spent less than $100 on her, their whole relationship and stuff like that. He, being Travis, is saying that wasn't true. And she kind of said it wasn't true either. So not necessarily sure where that came from, but that was the rumor. They broke up because he was cheap. All right. Now, it sounds like he always had a little bit of hood in him for whatever reason. Now, he also has a brother that's Jason. He plays for another football team, and people are saying
that Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, he's for a football team somewhere. Okay, so people are saying that he's kind of the opposite, like he's a country bumpkin type of thing, hillbilly or whatever. But some are saying that he's always kind of had. He being Travis has always had a little bit of swag, and they're very good at what they do because at one point in time they were both at the Super Bowl together. Okay, I guess playing against each other and all of that. Now, moving till today. So there was these rumors going around that Travis is now dating, what's her name? Taylor Swift. Now dating Taylor Swift. And I'm going to put this picture up so y'all can see why we're even talking about this. I'll give it a little bit more context. Okay. Give me one moment so I can put this picture up. At one point in time, I did watch football and all of that, but I haven't really gotten involved in it in a long time. So Y'all forgive my ignorance. Okay, so there is the picture that I saw, and one of many, I should say, on social media. So Taylor Swift is who he is rumored to be dating. She was seen at the game with him, hanging out with his mom and stuff in the whatever, the skybox or whatever it's called up there. And she's cheering him on. She's wearing, the Kansas City regalia, if you will. So the rumor is that he and Taylor are together. So this is the commentary on it. It says women on social media are in their feelings because Travis Kelce is now dating Taylor Swift. Some calling it downgrade. Okay. And then in the middle there, you can see someone says a rich white man left a fine black woman for a white woman that's richer than him. That makes perfect sense to me. So, of course, many of this commentary is coming from the sisters, basically saying she gave Travis, she being Kayla, the one that's in the black, she gave Travis some street cred with black women. Because at one point in time, there was a lot of black women like, oh, he fine. He had the beard and all of that. And, they was just, I guess he was sexier because one, the black woman was with him and, he had the beard and I guess, I don't know, hood swag, if you want to call it that. So again, now people are saying that he downgraded with Taylor Swift. Well, it sounds like he's worth about $30 million. Kayla is worth about $2 million. And Taylor is worth about $740 million. So I'm not really quite sure what we're talking about as far as downgrading. I guess we could take the money off the table since clearly that's a lie that he's not downgrading financially. So I guess we would have to, because whoever put this picture up, or these two pictures, you can see that Kayla's got some curves and she's a beautiful girl. And, Taylor, she's a beautiful girl, in the white woman world, I guess. She does not have all the curves and stuff that Kayla has. So I guess we're going to assume that maybe people are talking about looks and swag. I don't know, because it clearly is not money. So I want to have a conversation about that. I definitely have my opinion on it all. But Donovan, what say you?
Oh, my goodness, gracious goodness. I am going to tell Mr. Kelce this. Do you guys remember the Jessica Simpson? She's a singer, Jessica Simpson. Mm-hmm. She was dating Tony Romo, and this was the year the Cowboys were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. This chick was up in the stands, ruined the whole Cowboy season. I will never forgive her. I'm pissed off. Don't do it. Okay? Do not be dating these women that are superstars or whatever during the football season. Do it, after season, or keep her in the back room or whatever you're going to do. But that's just my little take because it just reminds me of what Jessica Simpson did to my Cowboys, my beloved Cowboys. But I have a question for you, and it's very sad. And I see this all the time when it comes to women comparing themselves. Why is it, in a lot of the comments that I did see when I was looking it up real quick, Black women are comparing body types as if that's of value. That if that's of value to a man. So is a Black woman's worth just what her body looks like? Just because Taylor Swift is built like a 2x4, does that mean because he's downgrading because she's built like a 2x4? What if he likes her mind? What if he likes her conversation? What if he just likes her for who she is and all this other stuff? I get so sick and tired of women always talking about how men objectify them and stuff like that. But if you're looking around today, it seems like women are I guess it's okay when women objectify themselves. So when men do it, it's bad. But when women do it, it's okay. You see women getting BBLs, or they're doing a lot of surgeries on their bodies and whatever. In my opinion, that's a person who either has body problems, shaming problem. I don't know what the word is. A dysmorphia. Is that what it's called? Dysmorphia or something? Body dysmorphia or whatever, or somebody that just doesn't love themselves. You're given a uniform to play with by whatever you believe in and how you're here. And yeah, you could improve it, squats or whatever, if you want to do that. But who are we to judge his decision, if he likes 2x4s and that woman is treating him right, maybe she treats him a lot better. Maybe she doesn't nag. You know, we don't know the dynamics of what attracts him to her. But definitely, just because you got a banging brick house body, that isn't the be all for everybody. Demetra has a nice body, nice shape and everything, in my opinion. But you know what I mean? It doesn't mean, you know, I'm very sure she gets a lot of guys coming to her. But the point of the matter is that isn't all that Demetra is. So I think it's kind of ridiculous that it seems in our community, we have this propensity to value our Black women's bodies as a commodity when it shouldn't. It should be the content of their character and how you treat a person and all this other stuff. I know a lot of women that have great bodies and all that, but their attitudes are stanky and janky.
Yeah. Well, as far as body type is concerned and the value and all that, that's what men do value. Men do value women's body. You guys are visual creatures. And you guys are attracted to women. The bigger the behind, and you know, the more turned on y'all are, if that's your thing, or the breast, or whatever the case is, and all of that. So it's just a fact. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of women, black, white, green, purple, whatever, we as women, we know that, which is, and as I said, I think for me, as I'm getting older, of course, I want to, you know, look as best I can, but it's turned into be for me more than anything. But I'm not ridiculous in that I don't believe that men also find, you know, women attractive. We know that they do, right? Y'all just do. So, of course, there's a lot of emphasis put on a woman's body. She wants to look her best because y'all not looking at the woman who doesn't look her best physically, right? I mean, you will, but you're not going to look at her over another, you know, woman who looks better. So that's why a lot of women do it. As far as Black women having more of an emphasis on our body, I would say that's true to some degree. I'm not going to say it's not. It is true to some degree. We do have a fixation on our bodies. As far as what he sees in Taylor, we don't even know if they're together, first of all. We don't know. And I've always kind of thought this. You should have behind and a good mind. You know, there's a lot to come with, because y'all know what I say. What's behind the booty? You know, once you see that big old giant pumpkin, you know, wobbling down to whatever, like, as men, I tell y'all that. Y'all should say, okay, she got a big old giant, you know, wagon behind her. But what's in that wagon? What is she dragging in the wagon? Is it just a good time? Or is it more, you know, is there a mind attached to the behind? Is there, like, is this a good woman, or is it just a good looking booty? You know what I mean? Or is she going to just be a good time? So, you know, and you brought me up, and I'm just going to, you know, put it in there. I work very hard on my physique, if you will. I got a lot more to go, but I'm working hard. But I've always wanted a man to value me for my mind and my heart and how I treat him. And then the body is secondary. You know, you my man or whatever, that's a given, you know. But I've always, and, you know, for whatever reason, it hasn't really worked out for me, because sometimes men just want a woman that's, and I get it. I just can't be that. You know, I would drive myself crazy just, I couldn't do it. So as hard as I try, but I really want to say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, taught, depending on how you look at it, that we should accept our own and be ourselves. Why are we mad that, because I guess that's part of it too, that Travis, who was a white man, is now with a white woman. See, at the end of the day, and Donovan, you said it too, he might play around with a black woman, because it sounded like he was with a black woman before Kayla. They gonna play around with the black woman. She's got a nice body and she got the swag. And I'm not saying Kayla's not smart. It sounds like she's a smart girl and all of that, you know, well spoken. She doesn't sound like she's on the BS. I don't want to put that out there. But they understand the value of, I'm gonna play with her. But the main thing gonna be probably a Taylor Swift. a white woman. See, it's only us in our community, whether it's a man that's making a bunch of money or a woman, we get with somebody else, it don't work out, and then half of that wealth goes to, you know, the white community or community outside of our own. So Travis is probably like, yeah, you know, I'll play, because I knew men like that when I worked at Frito-Lay. It was a whole host of different kind of men working up in there. One of the guys was an Indian guy, and he says, I love black women. Oh my God, I love black women. I wish I could be with a black woman. I wish I could marry a black woman. You know, and because his family was thinking he was a virgin. But, you know, his bride was already in India getting ready to come to the States so they could be together. So he already knew he was going to marry, but he was out in the States tricking with black women. He says, I just something about y'all. I just love y'all, but I can never do it because my family won't approve of it, this, that, and the other. So he knew who he was going to, you know, be with, but he played with the sisters. But he said, I will never be able to bring one home. So it's us that has not gotten a memo. Accept our own and be ourselves. Be with somebody who looks like you, who speaks like you, who can think like you, somebody you can sit at the table with at Thanksgiving with their family, and y'all won't have to say, oh, really? What is Lowry seasoning? We've never heard of it before.
So you're absolutely right. And I just want to add this too. As you guys know, soldiers, when the United States deploys their soldiers around the world promoting that democracy and protecting other people's borders, isn't that crazy? We will protect other countries' borders, but we can't protect our own. Isn't that crazy? You know, we'll go protect South Korea's border, Japan's borders, but we won't protect. Well, anyway, that's another thing. But as these soldiers go overseas and we spread this democracy, in my 24 years of service in the military, as a air crew member, a pilot, whatever, mechanic, whatever I was doing, I would be on the headsets. And as you guys know, Germany and a lot of places have red light districts, right? So we would go to Europe. Long story short, I'm on the plane. I'm dealing with, let's say, a lieutenant colonel, somebody that's, you know, on the base. And Demetra knows the ranking structures. Somebody that's on the base. And, you know, and this guy's like an upstanding family guy, you know, in the military's eyes. You wouldn't think this guy would be anything like that. We're over there. And I can't tell you the countless times I would be on the plane with these senior officers. And, you know, we got dead time. We're flying to be 4-hour trip, whatever, to get over there, 6 hours, whatever it is. And, oh, man, when we land, let's go do this. You know, we have the whole plan is locked out. They couldn't wait to get to the red light district and go and get with the African women that are working in there, the Jamaican women that are working in there, whatever. And like, for me, I was shocked as a younger officer. And I'm looking at this guy, I'm listening to this guy on the headsets. And, you know, as a crew, we got to stay together, you know, because if somebody gets arrested or something, that's going to mess the whole thing up. We got to know what's going on. So we all have to go together. If somebody's going to this area, we all go together. So I'm sitting there walking through the red light district in Frankfurt, Germany. And this guy is just salivating. And he's getting with these sisters. And I'm just like, you know, in my head. And then, okay, we're on our way home now, right? Heading back to the United States. And he's like, oh, man, same thing. Oh, man, I love sisters. And, man, I just, you know, my wife, she isn't, you know, this or that. You know, he's just saying what his wife ain't got or she gained weight or whatever the situation is. So I would say, well, why don't you just get you a sister? Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know, I got to, you know, but I said, he goes, man, I love black women, man. There's something about them, their bodies, they're just this, that. I mean, and again, it's a jungle fever type situation. So Travis Kelce, that scenario is not unusual. And that's why I look at some sisters and I'm thinking, why are you surprised when it doesn't work out in the end? Why would you be surprised in that situation? If that man hasn't locked you down in a year or two or whatever of dating, you're dating this man for 5 years and he hasn't locked you down. That should tell you something.
Yeah, I agree. 5 years, no ring, no nothing is like, you know, my dad always says, don't ever become the plaything, be the main thing, you know. And I think really for a lot of women, and I'm going to speak on the sisterhood, we really have not driven that memo home. You know, make this man make you an honest woman. You know, set his intentions with you, because like you said, you dating somebody for 5 years. Are we dating? What are we, open relationship? Like, what are we doing here? And then, you know, I invest all that time with you and then you just up and leave or whatever the case is. It's like, all right, you know, so at least make sure that he does have some sort of intentions. Because I get it, things change, stuff happens or whatever. But one thing we're not gonna do is you're not gonna be a placeholder for 5 years and you ain't trying to engage me or none of that kind of stuff, And I get it. Go ahead.
Well, just think about it. 5 years and Taylor Swift just swoops right in.
Yeah. It sounds like though him and Kayla have been broken up for like 2 years or so.
About 2 years or something like that. But in general, like I said, supposedly Taylor Swift's jumped in. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So but I just think for us, we do need to say, and I get it. As I say all the time, I get why a lot of women are afraid to say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good." Okay, well, what's your intentions? Are we getting married? Do you want to get married? Or maybe you don't want to get married to me, but is that where you eventually you're trying to do? Or are we just hanging out? Am I a plaything? Am I trying to make me the main thing? Like, what are we doing here? We really need to just get that up front, because I know a lot of times people say, "Oh, well, it's too early to find all that out. We just kind of hanging out." It's like, no, I said, well, let's keep it a buck. We're not just hanging out. You hopping up and down on me like a trampoline. We're not hanging. I need to know what your intentions are. Do you see something a long term? Is it short term? What? And it's not easy, because I know a lot of men probably get freaked out by that. And as I say, good, you want to freak him out. And I'm speaking to the women. You want to freak him out. And if he's a sucker and he's like, "Oh, well, you putting the pressure on me, then bye. I'm going to miss you. Good luck wherever there's a floozy out there somewhere who will let you just, get your rocks off on her at your leisure." But we have to be intentional when we are dating, unless that's just what you want to do. If you're just out there, you playing the field and you letting whatever men defile you as much as they like with no intentions, and that's great, because I'm not going to judge a girl. I'm not going to do all of that. If that's what you want, then good. You know what you want. But don't cry foul years and years and years later. This man hasn't put a ring on your finger or none of that other stuff. And he's virtually treated you like a trampoline, and now you're bitter. So just up front, well, thank you for, inviting me out to whatever, and showing interest in me. So what's your intentions? Is it short term? You just out here playing the field? Or are you looking to be married, to be a husband and make somebody a wife? And then whatever they say, if it don't match what you're saying, then, well, thank you so much. I appreciate, this coffee or whatever it is we're doing, but I'm going to, this is going to be our last time hanging out, because we're not going the same place, but I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, and real quick, a lot of people ask me, "Well, Don, why are you single? Da, da, da. You're good looking, in shape, got yourself together, whatever, right?"
We ain't talking about we're not including your mama saying that, okay?
My mom and my aunts. "Oh, Tootie, you're so cute." Okay. But no, but a lot of people always ask me that, right? And like you said, you date with intention. Now, I'm a little bit older now, so I don't have time, to be playing games with a lot of these women. And you remember the one girl I had that was like beautiful, whatever. I had to run her off. As fine as that woman was, I'm not here to play games. I mean, I want to, I got a lot of friends that are married. I surround myself with a lot of married people. I'm tired of being the fifth wheel when we go out on these group excursions, right? Yeah, I can bring a girlfriend here, whatever, but that's not appropriate to do that. So what I'm finding as a man, when I meet a girl, whatever, and I'm thinking, she's never ready. That chick is never ready. Oh, well, I got this going on. I got my career, or my daughter's in college. I'm working on that, and this is that. And I get it. You're going to do your thing. But, as we get older, like I said, I'm not here to play games. And so I cut it off real quick. It's like, well, I'm not going to waste my time with this chick. And that's why I tell you, Demetra, and a lot of women that email me or text me or whatever, why am I single, is because women are out there doing it for themselves, whatever that is. It's just not compatible to where I want to be as a man. So I have to just keep pushing, because I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not wasting 5 years or whatever with this person that's not ready right now. Now, when I'm saying get married, I'm not saying next week. I'm saying if I meet a chick and we start dating, I'm looking within that year. I will know when I know, but I'm not doing no 3-5 years. Talk about, well, I think so. At my age, can't do it.
Yeah. And, I feel the same way. yeah, that's why I don't date or or anything like that, is because first of all, I'm too old to be out there dating and having a boyfriend. I'm 52 years old. I need to be having me a husband or a fiance, husband, something. But just having a boyfriend, and then I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. Some women, they want a boyfriend, or at this age, or men, they want a girlfriend. That's fine if that's what you really want. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not going to be out there calling somebody my boyfriend. Like, girl,
Grandma's going out with her boyfriend tonight, so
no,
we can't stay at grandma's.
no.
I hate hearing that. When I hear a woman that's a grandmother talking about she's got a boyfriend, to me that doesn't even sound like it goes together.
And the same thing with a man. As old as you are, you at your big old age, running around with a girlfriend. It's like, come on, sucker, make a decision. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. But because especially as women, we hear, "Oh, you getting older," and I'm fine like wine, baby. I'm not getting sour like no grapes. I'm getting fine like wine. I feel like, for me, as a 52-year-old woman, I'm at the best place in my life. I feel like I am, because now I'm more aware of who I am, what I want. I'm just there. And so I know that me being in that headspace, and there's a little, work to do. We always at work in progress. The person I decide to be with is also going to benefit from that. So it's, like I said, yeah, I'm not, you didn't be running around calling me your girlfriend and all for years and years. And, like Glodadine and them in their 80s. I got a boyfriend, child. Like, you need to be having a husband. That's your business, or whatever the case is. But for me, no. So I just say, and I'm always say this, if you're as a man or a woman, you're interested in being married, get that known up front. That way you're just not spending time or hanging out with somebody who does not want to do that. You want to be married? Go where the want to be married people hang out. Hey, how you doing? Is this where the married people or the people want to be married hang out? Yes, this is where we hang out. Okay, cool. I'm going to have a seat and I'm going to wait here until somebody else who wants to be married sees me. But if you want to be married and you hanging out with the people who don't want to be married, it ain't their fault. It's your fault.
Right. And you know what's funny, real quick, as we close this segment? I am really good at hooking people up that are compatible, and they end up getting married. And then I'm the guy that's kind of like, okay, well, you know what I mean? It's crazy how that works out. I'm
going to keep it a buck with you. Donovan has great attributes. He's got great attributes. He's a great guy, but this Negro is picky, is all outdoors. Because Donovan could have had a woman or two, that I've seen. He just is picky. It just is like, man, you like.
I don't want a Lizzo. I'm not doing it.
And that's fair. I'm not saying you need to have a Lizzo. You shoot, Lizzo's balling. And she's in pretty good shape, whatever. But that's, there's certain things I don't want in a man either. So I will never begrudge a person of what they like. You like what you like, But sometimes I think, because y'all tell the women this all the time. Yeah, y'all want a man that's 6 feet, 6 figures, and, 6 whatever else. And y'all gonna have to be realistic, because the average man ain't making this kind of money. And the average man is about 5'8" or whatever, whatever the stuff. So it's the same thing for y'all. Yeah, Beyonce taken, or whatever woman y'all deem to be, the big booty Judy, whoever, that woman is taken. And if you're fortunate enough to get with a woman that's Coke bottle, no stretch marks, no cellulite, which that's rare, I don't know. If you're fortunate enough to have that woman who is not wearing a weave and all that other stuff, good for you. But as I told Donovan this a lot. There's a lot of good women under them wigs and weaves that you don't want to be with. You see what I'm saying? So it's like he's throwing the whole woman away over a wig. Now I get it. You don't like the wig or the weave, but that's the same criticism y'all give women. Oh, well, so what? He ain't 6 feet. He might be a good man. But so women get a hard time for not wanting to budge on their physical attributes. But then when you tell the men to do it, it's like, no. So it's like, honestly, y'all out there chasing a unicorn too. Y'all right. Especially either at this age, a woman's had children and she's probably been through some things. Gravity is like, I'm here. Or you gonna get you a young woman in her 20s, and that ain't gonna work out either because you in outer space and she is somewhere else. So it's like, get somewhere, sit down with somebody who may not be perfect, but she's perfect for you.
Right. But see, what you're forgetting is it's my program. If a woman doesn't want to meet my program, then I have to move on from that. Like I said, to ask a woman to be natural and loving herself, I mean, you could be practically buzzed head, and I would like that. I don't ask for much. The one thing I don't, and everybody, all my friends know it, I do not like weave. I don't like it. I don't care for it because it tells me.
I'm gonna call cap on that too, because I know there's a couple of bald-headed ladies out there that like Donovan, and he like, nah.
Oh, well, hey, I don't know.
She got to have, or her hair too short. Or
No. The one thing, like I said, I'm not going to disagree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, everybody knows I'm consistent about that. I do not like weave because it tells me that you cannot tell me that you're a confident this type person when you don't even want to know who you are. Now, I could grow my hair out if I want to. Of course, it'll look like the Predator, but the Predator style with the dreads on the side. But I shave my head because at my age, it doesn't matter at this point, and I'm natural and I'm who I am. I want to see, it's getting to a point, especially women in our age, because of so many enhancements and stuff, that you can't tell a regular woman from a drag queen. That's what I'm saying. I want to see you in your natural state and who you are, and let me accept you for who you are, not for who I think you are, who you are. So I get it. I'm picky in that aspect, but I've been consistent about that one thing. And when I see all of these women with wigs on their head using the BS excuse of, oh, it's just easier for me to do just do it that way. That tells me you're lazy. That's just me. That's what it tells me. You're lazy because that's your natural hair. You should be able to do your natural hair. And if you don't want to do what it takes to do your natural hair, cut it all off and keep it short or whatever is easier. But to put something like a baseball cap on top of your head and talk about, I'm going to go outside and do all this, me personally, I can't do it.
I agree. I think some of the wigs do look ridiculous, but again, that woman might be very nice, and maybe if you get with her, she may feel comfortable enough. Like, okay, as a guy who really loves me for me, he's accepting. I'll take the the wig off and I'll wear my own hair. But as I tell you guys too, I'm a natural, and it's not always easy to do natural hair, especially in different weather and all that. There's a lot going on, so there's different reasons other than a woman not liking herself and wearing the natural hair. Now, let's keep it a buck too. Y'all, if there was a woman with some straight silky hair over a woman with her natural hair, most of the time y'all going with that woman with the straight hair and the Beyonce, the Farrah Fawcett flyaway hair, but the queen with because my hair don't grow down. My hair grows up. So it's going to stick up, or whatever the case. If I wear it down or whatever the case is, it might, but it's going to look like that. Now, if I stand next to a woman who's got the silk press and all that, she's probably going to be more desirable. So as a woman, with natural hair, I hear what y'all saying, but I've been called, nappy headed before. Why don't you straighten your hair? I've heard all that before.
Demetra, outside of your hair, what other assets do you have? You got a big booty, nice body, intelligence, so on, so on, so forth. So, you got to look at the whole, like you said, I'm not looking for Beyonce because I don't think Beyonce is all. I don't know what the big deal is about this Beyonce. I don't know what that is. Well, Beyonce is an average looking Houstonian. I've seen thousands. Yeah, I've seen thousands of Beyoncés in Arkansas when I was stationed up there.
Redbone.
Yeah, but I've seen thousands of Redbones. She's nothing out of the. I just don't get it. But again, you have other assets that come with that. And I'm not saying every woman that does this or does that. If you want to put that in your hair, whatever. It's just that for me, it's not going to work for me. And like you said, if I met a woman that was like, oh, well, yeah, here's his stance, this is his program, she's going to show me, hey, I want to get on your program. I'm going to take this off and be myself because this man's going to love me for who I am. You could be 200 pounds, 6'1". You saw my ex-wife, so it ain't like I'm super superficial. But the one thing I told her, I don't like weave. And yes, her hair was a issue for her, but she was like, hey, this man's going to love me because of who I am. Hey, ball it up and put it in, call it a day,
Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, that's your preference or whatever. And I also want to address something too. I've had a couple people ask me, and I don't know why they're not listening. Why don't you and Donovan date? I've heard that a lot. And I'm like, for years now, we've addressed this. Donovan and I have been friends.
Watch What's Love Got to Do with It. Watch exactly, especially the end. Watch the end of the movie.
And so I like, since even, for years when we first started doing this, because then I always say this too, and Donovan, no, I'm not lying. Donovan has had so many female friends who have deleted me, cut me off, was mad at me. And I'm like, I don't want this sucker. He's all yours. If he don't want you, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I mean, like, mad, big mad. I'm like, I ain't did nothing to these women. Donovan, what are you doing to these women? Because they're all of them. Donovan, I can think of at least 4 women who have cut me off, for whatever reason. I know what it is, because they probably think me and you were together, whatever, or been together, and they like you and I'm getting in the way. But I'm like, y'all ain't ever once seen me or Donovan like talk about each other that way, or like we're just legitimately friends. But I always get the brunt end of, I hate her. I'm like, well, I ain't did none of you. So I'm saying that to say Donovan and I are very good friends. Donovan is like a brother to me. He really is. Because y'all see, Donovan and I, we could fight on here, and y'all be like, oh God, I think it's the end. And then when we get off of here, we're like, man, what you gonna be ready to do? Oh, I'm gonna go do the yard or whatever shit. I'm tired of it to go lay down or whatever. So we're like, we're not on that page. And I get why people say it, because it's like, oh, y'all always together, you do these shows and blah, blah, blah. We're just not compatible. Donovan and I have never even thought about being on that page. Of course, y'all know he is hoping and praying and wishing that my sister will give him an opportunity somewhere in some lifetime. Keep a hope alive. It may happen. But yeah.
I just got to take her on one trip, get her drunk one time.
See, if you got to get her drunk, that's probably not your woman. Okay. But so in all seriousness, Donovan is a great guy, just not a great guy for me, vice versa. And as I always said, I will smother him in his sleep.
Yes. And like I said, what's love got to do with it? You can't tell this woman nothing. You cannot tell this woman nothing.
You can tell me something.
Well, and the thing is, when you got 2 people, I also got to think about this. When you got 2 people that are so strong-headed, we're both educated, we both got our opinions on things, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. I mean, it's like a magnet. 2 positives oppose each other. You got to be opposite for it to match together. And we have so many things in common that it is what it is. But I look at her like a sister. Like I said, the real truth of the story is I met her sister first. I was a senior. Her sister comes up to me, started talking to me. Her sister's a freshman. I'm like, what this girl talking to? I'm new at the school and I'm a senior. And I'm just like, I'm mad at the world because I got to go to the school for one class. I needed government, one class. And I'm stuck at this school I didn't want to be with. Demetra's hopping the fence to go see her boyfriend. And my one friend at the school was her brother. And that was the only person I really knew at the school that was in the government class. And we just kind of clicked it off and whatever. And that's pretty much how we ended up hanging out together. And then politically, Demetra was my campaign manager. And here in Riverside, California, we would go to political events together. And if you saw me, you saw Demetra. And so a lot of people thought that we were a couple. It was like, no, we're just...
We're like, ew.
Right.
So I hope that clears that up. And it's funny because I've always gotten accused, and we're going to get to the other subject in just a minute. I've always gotten accused of being with people, guy friends that I'm really close with. Because I have another friend, Ed. He's one of my dearest friends ever in life, And when we work together, people would always say, are you and Ed together? Are you and Ed are together, huh? Are you guys are together, huh? And we never even thought about it. And none of that. But people always accuse us of being together. And I'm like, at one point I was like, Ed, we're not going to address this no more. If they think we're together, we're together. Because we were like this, you know what I mean? And we're still like this. But I'm like, why can't people hang out, the opposite sex, hang out without, because, and plus anybody who knows me, Donovan knows me, Ed knows me, anybody who knows me knows I'm not that type of woman. It's just like, well, hi, you're bored, I'm bored, yeah, let's screw. No, I'm not. And neither is Donovan. Well, my other friend, he might be. But but the point that I'm making is, you know, that's just not, it's, you can hang out with the opposite sex and not be on that frequency, you know, because I hear the, all people are friends with benefits. I ain't never been in a relationship, friends with benefits. I've never even done anything like that. I haven't. So I'm saying people can be friends and legitimately be friends without, and like Donovan, y'all know we vacation together and stuff. We stay at the same, but we usually stay in the Airbnb, but we'll stay in the same Airbnb, but they have, you know, different rooms and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, as I was his campaign manager, I'd be like, wrong suit, wrong shirt, go change it. And he's changing in front of me. So it was never like wrong shirt. You need
right.
another shirt.
At the beach, Speedos.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's, it's possible to be friends with somebody without muddying the waters, if that makes any sense.
And let me add this too, and it's kind of biblical. If you look at some of the things in the biblical thing, I was always taught growing up. Let's say there's an Elon Musk, even though he's a dirtbag, or let's say there's a rich person. How do you become rich if you're not surrounding yourself with the rich person and what they do and how they do it? I was always taught, if you want to be in a successful, let's say, relationship, a marriage, you don't go ask your friend that's been divorced 2 and 3 times for their advice. You go hang around people that have been together for 40, 50 years, and hopefully some of their blessing will rub off on you. So Demetra knows some things that I don't know as a man, you know, whatever the deal is. I mean, it took Demetra to tell me, this girl is with you. She figures because she's with you that you got to do this. And I wasn't aware of that. And that's some of the things that I was always taught. You go around certain people to get some of what they know to rub off on you, and it makes you a better person in general. So you don't have to necessarily be sleeping with somebody, whatever. It blows my mind how people sit there and they just expect, oh my God, you know, unless it's a physical talent, that's totally different. That's something that's just genetically in you. But if Demetra has the knowledge of self and I'm, you know, I don't have it, you know, I'm just kind of self-conscious about myself, whatever. You want to be around positive people that look at themselves positively, and you learn some of those traits. I was always taught that as a young person. My mother told me, you surround yourself with people that you want to be or something that you want to get from them. Simple.
Yeah, or be able to get, you know, some type of game. And as a woman, I could spot game from another woman. Like I always tell Donovan, because I know my friend. He's very, you know, generous, and not, you know, I know if he gets accused of not liking Black women, but as I always say, it's not the case. Donovan actually helps a lot of Black women. But I always tell him too, you know, you don't want to just get some woman in here. You've worked hard your whole life, and you built, you know, a little fortune and castle and all that for yourself. Last thing you want is a woman to come in here and help you lose up all your money and then have you back on somebody 9 to 5 because she's got this car and she's got these purses and she's got this, and, you know, she wants it. I don't want this house, even though his house is paid off. We need a bigger house. And, you know, you don't stay away from a woman like that. You want a woman to say, okay, boo, bet I ain't got to go to work as long as I help you keep and build what you got. Okay, cool. Okay, you know, and like Donovan said, I don't have a problem with a woman coming in and saying, okay, the drapes is kind of drab in here. It's manly. Let's freshen it up a little bit. Put your womanly touch on it. But what you're not going to do, and I have to tell him this, don't let no woman come up in here and drive you back into the workforce, because you're not, you know what I'm saying? Because we know of people, especially men, who that's happened to. They was doing good, right? They was easy selling. And when they was single, they was living a good life. And, you know, they were even to the point to where they could go get a house or whatever and take on a wife. But then you taking on the wrong wife, or somebody who was like, I don't care. I want it all. And now your ass is back there, you know, shoveling coal somewhere because you're trying to maintain the lifestyle that you couldn't afford in the first place. So the right woman, that's key. And that's what I told Donovan. I get it. You be thotting. You like the thoughts. whatever the case is. But if you seriously think about getting with a woman, make sure she understands what you've done to get to this point, and that she understands that I need to be able to help this man at least maintain what he's got, or we're going to build on to what he's got. But don't bring no woman in, as the Bible said, you know, tear down a household. She can tear down with her mouth or whatever, or build it up with her hands or whatever the case, vice versa. And as my dad says, a woman, sometimes you bring in a spoonful of money and she's shoveling it out the back door. So I'm like, just make sure she ain't that. You know, and as for women, you know, the same thing. You know, get with a man if you got a little bit of something, that he's gonna value that as well. See, I know there's a lot of gold digging women out there. There is, but that gold digging woman, I'm gonna give y'all man some game. Y'all better be writing this down. That gold digging woman is only going on off of how you first start off with her. Okay, if you out there, oh, money's not a problem, and you know your ass is broken in 2 legs at a soccer match, you know, whatever the case is, you know you broke, but you ain't telling her, hey, honey, I ain't even got that money like that, but I can, you know, every once in a while we go to a movie or something like that. But if you out there just spending money on her and making her think you got it, and she's like, well, shoot, he balling. And then when it come down to really having to show and prove, it's like, oh, I ain't got it like that. So it's how you start off with that woman. And you may be balling and be able to afford to do all that. But if you don't want her to see you for just a wallet and what you got, don't start off with her like that. Start off, you know, with other stuff, but you lead with anything you want. Let's go to the mall. Because I've had guys do that to me and I didn't go. Hey, let's go to the mall. I'll buy you, you know, whatever you want, and we can do this, do that. And I would just tell them, you know, this is just me. Thank you so much. But I don't, and in a nice way, I'm not, you know, into you like that. I really only want to be friends. And I've even told one guy, I was like, you gonna get with the right woman or the wrong woman, because he wanted to go on a cruise with me. And, you know, I was like, I don't even know you like that. He wanted to go on a cruise with me, take me to the mall, he wanted to go to Ritz-Carlton and all this other stuff. And I said, well, I just really want to be friends with you. I'm going to decline all that stuff. I said, but be careful, because there's women out there who will play the role. Oh, I'm going on cruises. I'm going to the mall and this, that, and the other. He did. He ended up with a couple of women like that, and he all up on the internet boo-hooing. And, oh, I thought she really liked me. And, you know, I told her, I said, I told you not to do that, because there's a woman out there like, that's a sucker I'm about to lick. So anyway, let's get to this other topic. I saw this trending, and I'm going to just show it to y'all, and then we can have a conversation about it.
He's probably ever done to me while street performing.
So that particular guy's name is Andrew Shue. Sounds like and they're Athens, Georgia. So it sounds like he, you know, is a street performer, and he's out there quite a bit performing and things like that. And for whatever reason, that particular woman, and her name is she looks like a kid, but she's an adult. Her name is Sista-Hood. Walks by, and as y'all saw, harassed him, hit his piano the first time, and then came back and then hit it hard enough to where it fell, and stole his money. So it has gone viral. People were on her mom's page saying, you raised a horrible human being, and you know, she should be arrested. And I saw something that she was. I don't know how true it is. I don't know if it was fake that she's been arrested or whatever. But so yeah, it's everybody has just gotten wind of this particular story. And as I saw it, I said, wow. And this to me don't even have anything to do with her being Black. So I don't necessarily want to take it from that. But as humans, like, what are we doing? Because then it sounds like after she was called to the carpet about it, she was kind of like challenged him, like, what? Like, what you gonna do about it type of thing, you know? So, Donovan, what's your thoughts of seeing that?
That young lady needs to put her dick up. Number one, she needs to put her dick up, because when you're out there challenging a man, I get it. You women are, a lot of women out here are indoctrinated to think that they can do what a man can do and stuff. Just recently, the NCAA had a girl, I guess it was class 3 or something, tackle a dude, and it's the first time that a woman can do that. But again, a lot of women are going to be getting hurt because we have raised a new generation of young men and women who think that they're equals. And unfortunately, biology-wise and all that other stuff, is going to show different. There's going to be unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get hurt if we keep this type of attitude up. I mean, in our generation, in my experience, had a woman that challenged me physically as a man. Even when I was a teenager, no woman came up to me and challenged me physically. Now, when I was in grade school, a little bit different because girls grow bigger faster than boys and stuff like that. But when we eventually catch up to you guys and we surpass you, it is what it is. Even the women's soccer team, nobody talks about this. They lost to a team of 15-year-olds, young boys. But these women, we could do, we're just as good as the men. It's a different sport. It's a different game. And there's been a RASP in this country. One of the fastest growing groups of people being incarcerated are women, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate, but in our society, women aren't held accountable as if they were men. And I get it. Men are held to a certain standard. Women are held to a certain standard. But we've gotten to a point to where a woman thinks she can do, because what she did was a crime. Let's not forget that. What she did there was a crime. It was an assault and it was theft. And she's like, what's going to happen? And this is the attitude women have, because 9 times out of 10, nothing happens. Nothing. And it's unfortunate, but it's just like, what a horrible human being. Because when I see street performers out there and they're playing their music and stuff, I kind of like it because it kind of calms me down. Demetra, when we were in Tokyo, what kind of music were you hearing in the restaurants and stuff?
Jazz. There's a big jazz scene
there
in Tokyo.
Right. And then you're going in there, it sets the mood, it sets the atmosphere, whatever. So here we are in Babylon. We're having a horrible day from this horrible job we work at. Here's a street performer just out there making you feel good. He might be playing something that you remember or whatever. And for that little moment, you might be feeling good about yourself, or it might even recover your day. And this horrible human being goes around, and just because she can, or she thinks she can, she's going to ruin it for everybody else. It's horrible, 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 horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a totally horrible human. And I agree with you, because had that been a man did that to a woman, he probably would have got body slammed and, and the whole nine. He wouldn't have gotten away with it. And to me, it's more or less like, yeah, because I'm trying to think what state of mind I need to be in to do that to somebody. I don't know if she was drunk or whatever the case is. She did put out a mea culpa of some sort, saying she was sorry. Basically, she was sorry. Please don't harass my family. You guys are contacting my family and all that. Doesn't sound like she gave the money back or, none of that type of stuff. And it sounds like she did communicate with Andrew, but she kind of was doing the blame game or she was basically saying nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not the only one that's done something like this. I said I was sorry. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like a backhanded apology. It's like, I'm sorry, but, it's not rare that this kind of stuff happens type of thing. So the internet is just going in. They on a mama page. Mama turned off her comments. Basically it told her you raise a horrible person. And I don't know how much of her mom's upbringing of her, that did she teach her to do those type of things? So I don't know how much I can blame the mom, but I know, like, for me, like I said, if I heard my daughter did something like that, even if at the age of 30, I'm like, no, we gonna make this right. We getting up on the internet, you buying him new equipment or whatever. Like you all this backhanded apology stuff because I didn't raise you that way or whatever. But it's getting scary out there in those streets that a person is just out there making money and somebody not once but twice put their hands on your thing. Now the other thing is we live in a society too where people can be armed. Now what if that man felt threatened and he just blew your whole face off? then that'd have been a whole nother story. She just touched his piano. I don't know why he was so mad. Gosh, it's so toxic and and narcissistic. Yeah, because I was telling my daughter a couple days ago, even today, I said, I never heard the word toxic from women as much as I have in the last couple of years. Or narcissistic, he's narcissistic. Oh, he's narcissistic. I was like, golly, like, what are we doing?
Abusive, narcissistic.
And I'm not saying that those things don't take place. They do, but those terms get thrown around loosely. And it's like, well, is it toxic or are they just not putting up with you? You know what I mean? But had something adverse really happened to her there, then it would have been a whole nother scenario of, oh, well, she just touched his piano. Oh, well, he didn't have to do all that to her. Because I'm going to say one thing about that young man, Andrew is his name. Big ups to him, because there's a whole lot of dudes out there would have did her dirty for less. And you stealing my money too? Oh, okay. Bet.
I want to add this too. You see in videos, like especially here in California, where girls are going in there. I'm saying girls. It could be a white woman. It could be an Asian one, whatever. They go in there and they're stealing hair weave, right? And we always see in the video, it's obvious the woman stole or was trying to steal the hair weave. Then you see the Korean person, whoever, jumping on this to prevent them from leaving the store, right? But then the narrative becomes Black woman assaulted or girl assaulted. There was a story, I guess it was in England, where the woman, the Indian guy grabbed her by the throat. But then they showed the whole video where she was stealing and he was trying to restrain her from leaving the store. But then all these people came out talking about protect Black women, whatever. And it's like, wait a minute. The story should be this woman was stealing from this man's shop. And, it's funny how we change their narrative and we don't get to the root of what actually happened. So like in this scenario with Andrew, she assaulted the man and whatever. And her thing is, it happens to everybody. Everybody's toxic. Bring shame back to the community, because number one, if we had shame in the community, if your daughter did that, Demetra, that would bring shame upon you and your family for the way she's acting. And that's the problem. We've taken shame out of the equation to where, hey, you just do what you want to do and nobody could say anything to you. Nobody should say, oh, I'm just, okay, you got the words toxic, whatever these buzzwords are, right? But at the same time, you have these words of, oh, you're body shaming. Oh, that's what's that, Dimitri? Your daughter used to say all the time. Social constructing and all this other stuff. Well, golly, let's forget all of that crap and let's get back to the basics here. Did you do the right thing or did you do the wrong thing?
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, I think we definitely, this society is gone to hell in a handbasket. And we've seen worse things happen to people out there, but the doubling down of it, like, and what you gonna do? Who gonna check me, boo? I told your stuff up, and what you gonna do? That part right there is troubling, because as I said, had he, said, all right, I'm gonna rise to the challenge. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. I think he would have been within his rights. Now, to what degree, I don't know. But he could have thought, well, damn, she keep coming back, touching my stuff. The next time she come back, she gonna do something to me. So, and I know Georgia, they have stand your ground, the castle law, and stuff like that. So he could have very well been within his rights to say, I neutralize her, because she was like a threat. I didn't know she kept on upping the ante or whatever. But as far as that, the guy in London is where it took place, some beauty supply. Yes, the Black woman did go in there. Sounds like she wanted. I covered the story in the African Diaspora News Channel. She wanted a refund. And they told her no. And I guess she thought she was just going to gather up some stuff anyway to what it would have cost for the refund. And she was going to walk out the store with the stuff. Dead wrong, right? Now, he did put his hands around her throat and he choked her. It was, I didn't show the video. And then she took the basket and hit him on top of his head. So a lot of that was avoidable. And like I said in the video, I mean, first of all, if somebody don't want to give you a refund, you take it up, call the police. They're going to probably come. I don't know how it works in London. they're probably going to tell you if over here it's a civil matter, take them to court or whatever the case is. And sometimes the police will intervene if they can, but it's a civil matter, take them to court, call the police. You don't get to steal from people's store because that's what it was. It was stealing. Let's keep it a buck. And as far as that man, if that lady's leaving about your store, you don't get to choke her out. Call the police on her. You cannot do that to people. You cannot. But I say all that to say all of it is avoidable. But if we want to go with who is more culpable, it's the sister. Because first of all, we know how a lot of them feel about us. I'm sure they got a history of violence or some nonsense or something like that. But you cannot take it upon yourself to steal from people and then think that you're not going to have any adverse, things happen to you. You just are. The man's probably like, no, you're not going to steal from me. I'm going to, and plus we know, especially them, they don't care about black people, but y'all want to keep going up in their stores, spending money. And then when they show you who they are, after you didn't call, because it's a cause and effect, right, to everything. You caused this man. I really have to preface this because I don't want nobody to say, oh, Demetra Kaye is advocating somebody get choked out. I'm not doing that. But you caused that because I'm always one of those people that say, when you do something to somebody, you don't get to decide how they react. You don't. Like somebody, I don't know, you take their paper or the dollar or something off the table and they choke you out. I'm not saying they should, but you don't get to say, well, I only took your dollar. You should take another dollar from me. That might have been their last dollar. You don't know what that dollar meant to them. So you got to think about that. If I walk out of this man's store because I'm stealing, is he going to say, well, that's okay. You know what? After all, you're right. Go ahead. And did you take enough? Because I don't think you took enough. He's not going to say that. He's going to probably be pissed off, and he might want to do something to you. So what I'm saying is, especially for the ladies, because other thing too is with her with the piano, had that man choked her out, and everybody stood and watched because they saw what she did. You know what else would have came up out of that? Oh, the black woman is so unprotected and disrespected and all that other stuff. But it's like, wait a minute. Because I believe that to be true. Okay. But I think there's a whole other conversation. What part of what you did, okay, cause and effect, caused this man to treat you the way he did? Because we can't leave that off. Mosey by with your friends. His music sucks. You're terrible. Whatever, you can say what you want. But when you get to putting your hands on people, that's a game changer. Because whether you know it or not, this is what people need to know the law. That piano was an extension of him, which becomes assault or battery, however you look at it. It's an extension of him.
Could not agree with you more. Again, accountability, we need to bring that back. We need to bring back shame. And it's unfortunate that we have raised a couple of generations of wilding hyena and clans that are running around here, and male and female, just running around rampant. And we have so many other issues to deal with in regards to homelessness, education, just so many things that society needs that, we're at a point to where we are so overwhelmed with so many problems going on that nobody knows where to turn. Nobody knows what's going to happen at the end of the day. And it's going to be unfortunate. I end all my shows, again, telling a lot of our ladies, hey, I get it. You're by yourself, whatever your situation, however you got by yourself, whatever. But what's going on in this world, if you've been paying attention, you need something to defend yourself. 2 fists is great, but when people are coming across that gate, your brother's 15 minutes away, your daddy's in another state or in another city, your boyfriend broke up with you, so he ain't gonna come over there. Whatever your situation is, you need to be ready for anything at this point, especially if you're a black woman, because let's just be real. Let's be real. When it comes to black people in this country, they're not giving us warnings. They're not telling us this and that. They're killing us. They're killing us. And I'm seeing more black women being killed either by their significant others or by their friends. Did you hear about that lady? They think they found her in Memphis, the one that supposedly fell off the riverboat. They're trying to identify the body, whatever the deal is.
I ain't never heard about that one. I thought you were talking about the one, I think it was in New York. One sister was doing a story about somebody tried to rob her by knife point. She got away. She was doing a story And then before that story came out, she was choked to death by a brother outside of her house. So
yeah, there was a girl in Memphis. She supposedly went to a party for her birthday with three friends. She fell off the boat supposedly, but they found a body in the water and stuff. And this is the type of like the Kanika Jenkins thing. It's these things that are happening to, especially, and I got to speak for my community, especially to our Black women. These women are being murdered on Hot Girl Summer. Who was the girl that went to Mexico that got murdered just now?
Shanquella Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing all of these situations where these girls and ladies, I'm sorry, how does people have the energy to party all the time when we are lacking resources? We are being evicted. We are all these pressures that are coming into us, and we have no defense and nobody to protect us. We have nothing, and we're being murdered outright. And that's what's happening to our ladies, because we are too busy being distracted by the music, by this, by that, by whatever the case is. And unfortunately, I'm personally getting sick and tired of seeing young people who haven't even made the age of 30 or maybe not even 35 being deleted for no apparent reason. And then the police are like unsolved mystery. But that's exactly what's happening right now. They are not giving us warnings. They are just shooting point blank.
Yeah, and our children aren't off limits either. We're seeing a lot of children, being roughhoused by the police and stuff like that too. But I would just say this, especially as a woman, I go out places here and there, but I try not to be in a place where I would need someone to protect me. I try not to put myself in harm's way. And I want to say this too, because I think this gets lost in translation a lot. Even if I was somewhere that maybe I shouldn't be, I still should be safe. Does that make any sense? I'm saying is it doesn't give somebody an excuse to harm me. But at the same time, we should think twice about the places that we go, the people we hang out with. I've always been taught, having a Muslim upbringing, that everybody is not your friend. I don't care how nice they are, how cool they seem to be. Everybody is not your friend. So I've always moved that way. I know a lot of people, but I have a few friends. I have very few friends. I know tons of people, but those people that I know, I won't hang out with them. I get invited to go places. I'm a Californian. I move a little bit differently out there because I kind of know the area, a lot more. But out here, I don't move around that much. I went to a concert the other day and it was the worst experience ever. I'll never go to a House of Blues concert again. I love Victoria Monet. That's what we went and saw. Love her. But I ain't gonna say too much else because I got PTSD from the whole.
I mean, it was that bad of an experience, huh?
It was bad, just the etiquette and, of course, when you in that close proximity with people, it was funky. People smoking weed. It just, a couple people there with some bad attitudes, didn't have any situational awareness. There's just a lot going on. And I tend to like to go to concerts that are a little bit more on an upscale side and all that. Not that Victoria Monet was doing something that she wasn't. It's just the crowd. And but I say all that to say, I try to be cognizant of the places that I go. Never want to be in harm's way. Of course, I don't have a lot of family out here at all. My family's in California, so I don't have very many people to really just, look out for me. So I have to be careful when it comes to that. But that's how we as women should move in general. Don't be out there in places where you could maybe get gaffled up or, have something happen to you. In the nation, they say tell the women, don't be out without your man or whatever the case is, or protection of a man day or night. If you got to be out there, make sure you ain't out there at night. Don't put yourself in a position to where you be harmed, right? So I just think that's good advice. Be careful. And when you out there, act like you got some damn sense.
Right. And then let me add to that. Don't assume a man that's not your man is going to step up and do anything. Don't assume that. Some men will, but don't assume because you're a woman and you're being assaulted that a man's going to step up and break it up. Because like I've said, we've raised generations to where they rather get on their phone and record it than rather do something to intercede.
And that's what I was going to say too, because a lot of times women are attacked and they're not doing anything. And there's been, a plethora of men standing around, Kiki and Ha Ha, World Star, filming and all that other stuff. So we don't live in a generation where a man like my daddy, put on his cape and run to the rescue of a woman. With that, just not the generation of men. I'm not saying there's not men out there like that. I know a whole host of you guys would help a woman if she was in need. But overall, I would say more and more, that's not who we're dealing with, because we're dealing with a lot of men and women who don't know how to just be out there in public and be civil, right? Or chivalrous or any of that stuff.
Or walk away. Or walk away. They'd rather just go ahead and start throwing blows and punches or whatever they're going to do. But before we go, this is the one part that I want to ask you. It's very important. It's my annual movie review. I sat and literally watched the movie Bissonnette. I could not believe what I
told you.
Do not have the words.
I told you that's where I was. I was like, I don't know. It was everywhere. It was all over the place. But like I said, I didn't enjoy all the assault scenes. I didn't like that.
The acting was horrible. I got to say that because I was a thespian in high school. Acting was horrible. The writing was horrible. But I can say on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 5, I got to give it a 1. I mean,
that if it's high?
If this is a directorial debut for somebody, like their first movie or something, I gave them a 1 because of that. It might be their first actual putting everything together and stuff. So I just gave them a 1 because it didn't even deserve it, but it looked like it was a generic starting. I don't know. I can't explain it. If you haven't seen the movie Bissonnette, it's based on a street in Houston. And the beginning of it, I was horrified. I was like, what the hell is this? It was hard. It was horrific.
Yeah. My daughter, she's been over there, not on Bissonnette, but she's been over there. And she says, yeah, those women in the movie, they look 20 times better than the women that's actually out there. On Bissonnette. And she said, they ain't making that kind of money, I'm quite sure. Because, in the movie, they had, sacks of money. They just out there. It's like, come on, there's some $2 tricks going on out there.
And the one lead chick, I don't want to give the movie away, she had a nice body on her. The one that was with the, in the beginning and all that other stuff. She had a nice body on her.
I don't know who was the lead because it's like, whose story is
right.
It about? Like, yeah, that's about.
Yeah, and that's what I couldn't. That's why I said the writing was horrible, because it's like you had so many storylines going, you didn't know who was actually the star or what was going on. So interesting. So if you haven't seen the movie Bissonnette, and if you're from the Houston area, I'm not recommending it, but I'm saying, if they had a movie called University, because I'm from Riverside, Demetra knows what University is. I would see it to see if it represents my city or my experience correctly. So I'd strongly tell people check it out. Just Tubi. It's Tubi.
and leave it at the Tubi. Just know that it's on Tubi. So don't go in there with your expectations too high. And I would even tell you, don't even pop no popcorn, because you're probably not gonna finish most movies on Tubi. I think I didn't even finish that one. I fell asleep at the end. I don't even know if I think I finished one, and it was called, oh gosh. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Something stupid. So anyway, y'all, we'll be back here in a couple of hours for our live show. So you guys be cool. Till then, peace.